This is an update video, and shout out to Lisa Cabrera because it was through her that I was actually able to figure this out. If y'all remember, about a month ago, or a little over a month ago, I recently did a video about this man by the name of Wayne Bryant. Now, at the time, I didn't have his picture, but they finally put his picture out here. He was the guy that spent 23 years in prison behind some stolen hedge clippers. Like, he was literally given a life sentence behind that under some ridiculous law that's in Louisiana. Now, mind you, they said they got him for previous offenses, but none of those offenses were involved where someone's life was taken, or if he sexually assaulted somebody or anything like that. They could have been chalked up to petty crimes, misdemeanors at best. I think only one time he was armed, but that was it. And most of them had to be dealt with theft, like that. He was pretty much a repeat offender, but he ended up getting stuck in prison for 23 years for some stolen hedge clippers. Well, now it has come out on October 16, 2020, that Wayne Bryant, who is currently 63 years of age, is now a free man, and he's on, I believe they say he's on parole. Ridiculous. This man is 63. He lost 23 years of his life, which means he went in when he was 40, depending on when his birthday fell. And he went in, let's see, let me get my math right, since 97. So that's around the time when he went in. Let's get into it. A 63-year-old man who was serving a life sentence in prison for stealing a pair of hedge clippers has been granted parole, CBS affiliate KLFY reported. The Louisiana Board of Pardons and Committee on Parole voted this week to release fair Wayne Bryant after he had served 23 years in prison. Bryant was sentenced to life in prison without parole in 1997 for stealing the hedge clippers from a residential garage. Now you got to think to yourself, what the hell is going on with your own system? And this is a rhetorical question, so you don't need to answer it. Where you can get life in prison as a sentencing for stealing a gardening tool. Like, this has to be one of the worst miscarriages of justice I have ever seen. And I've come across a lot of stories. While the crime itself did not warrant the life sentence, his 4 prior felony convictions in attempted armed robbery, possession of stolen goods, attempted forgery of a check, and simple burglary triggered Louisiana's habitual offender statute. Again, I've never heard of this law. If I have any subscribers who live in Louisiana, and I'm sure that I do, can y'all tell me, have y'all ever heard of that law before? Because that's where they pull out all types of shit when it comes to us. Earlier this year, the Louisiana Supreme Court upheld that ruling in a 5-1 decision. The Chief Justice cast the only dissenting vote, writing that the sentence is grossly out of proportion to the crime and it serves no legitimate penal purpose. Now listen to that. The judge was the only, this is the Chief Justice was the only person that voted against the other 5, I'm sorry. The other 5 felt that he should have stayed in jail. And only one person believed that he should be out. Chief Justice Burnett Johnson, the only black member of the court, I remember her now. She was the only black person and the only woman too. Also noted that Bryant's jail time cost taxpayers approximately $518,667. Mr. Bryant's sentence is an example of the flaws in Louisiana's criminal legal system, but the Parole Committee decision to grant him early release shows the importance of periodic evaluation of an individual's rehabilitation, which Mr. Bryant will continue with the support of the Louisiana Parole Project. So that's why he's out, because he was a repeat offender doing what he was doing. They said we're going to have to put him on parole and he's going to have to finish this out in hopes that he doesn't go back. So hopefully he finishes out this program so he doesn't have to go back to jail. And they're probably banking that this guy does it, because that's all he's been known to do. That's all he's pretty much known all his life, because if you look at it, he is a repeat offender of sort of the same level of crime. It's just that it was different crimes every time. But notice they hit him with a felony every single time. Not one of them was a misdemeanor. The Louisiana chapter of the ACLU also celebrated Bryant's release, writing, "While nothing can make up for the years Mr. Bryant lost to this extreme and unjust sentence, today's decision by the parole board is a long overdue victory for Mr. Bryant, his family, and the cause of equal justice for all. I don't know how much of a victory it is. I say you give this man some kind of a restitution. He did lose 23 years of his life over a gardening tool, something that could be purchased at a Lowe's or a Home Depot or any place that deals with gardening. And how much are hedge clippers nowadays? How much are hedge clippers back then? This guy lost 23 years of his life behind that. The ACLU also called on the state to repeal the habitual offender law, which they should, if it leads to something like this, that led to Bryant's sentence, noting that black people represent 79% of those convicted as habitual offenders. Look at that. 79% of black offenders have been affected by that habitual, I should call it the son of a habitual offenders law. No surprise there. At the parole hearing, the committee's 3 members, 2 white and 1 black, focused on Bryant's numerous prior arrests as well as his history of drug and alcohol use, according to the Associated Press. And see, that's what they were basing it on. They were basing it on his priors, not the current event. Bryant admitted at the hearing that he had a drug problem, but said, "I've had 24 years to recognize that problem and to be in constant communication with the Lord to help me with that problem." The panel also noted that Bryant had participated in drug and anger management programs while incarcerated and that he did not have any recent disciplinary problems. He will be required to attend Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, follow a curfew, and perform community service as conditions of his parole. Something just told me that habitual offenders whatever affected black people more than anything else. But I said, let me just keep on reading and see if they mention it, and they did, and they gave a figure. 79%. That is 21% away from 100% of black people who live in that state that are affected by that law, which means that every other group that lives in Louisiana is lower than them. And people try to say that systemic racism is not a real thing. You got them idiots like the Coonsters, and shout out to Jay Lethal, because he had played a clip on his channel talking about her, and when she sat in that room, and y'all probably remember it, when she sat in that courtroom with all them white people and was talking about that systemic racism isn't the top thing that's affecting black people, and then started naming off all this random stuff, which, by the way, the stuff that she mentioned is systematic racism, but she's such a dunce cat wearing idiot, she wouldn't know, or maybe she does, but I don't know. She's in a world all by herself. Like, she's literally in limbo. That's her brain is stuck in limbo somewhere. Just a big dark room where she's the only person there, and she yells out and no one else hears her. But this is a perfect example of systemic racism and oppression at play, when 79% of the black residents are affected by this law. So it makes you wonder how many other black people are in jail right now because of that, and for what crime? Because I'm willing to bet if they can get him on something such as petty as stealing some hedge clippers, they'll probably get you on something like such as stealing a fan. Not even stealing a car, but stealing something that can heavily depreciate in value, something that you don't have to put a key in the ignition and turn on. Some kind of non-electrical device. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this, and I'll talk to you in the next one.